Each and every organization can be broken down into many different teams. There's the organization as a whole, various departments within the organization, the teams within those departments, and finally, there's the smallest, yet arguably the most important unit, the individual. Ensuring that each employee has the appropriate resources to perform as their best self is an instrumental part of the long-term success of a company. In order to be your best self, it's important to be aware of your strengths and your weaknesses. As I mentioned in the caption of this video, self-identifying your strengths, weaknesses, and areas to improve is not an easy task. This is where 360 feedback can be the most beneficial. It's an intervention geared toward providing feedback to individuals within an organization. Let's dive right in. So what is 360 feedback? Donald Anderson, in his 2020 Organization Development textbook, defines it as a method by which individuals can receive feedback from a wide range of people with whom they work. Simplified, this means that 360 feedback is a tool designed to provide individuals with work-related feedback from their boss and or coworkers. So what is the purpose? So the purpose is to provide people with constructive input related to their strengths and weaknesses at work. As mentioned earlier in the presentation, self-identifying those things can be quite difficult. There's no one better to help you understand where you might need some professional development than the people you work closest with. The features of 360 feedback that I believe are the most important to highlight are anonymity, carefully curated questions, and professional development. Anonymity is an important aspect because people are generally more willing to be honest when they don't fear the consequences of saying something negative. If 360 feedback was not done anonymously, people are more likely to give feedback that they think the recipient would want to hear. This can cause the result of the feedback to lack validity. Carefully curated questions are another important aspect. It's vital for the implementers of this intervention to select questions that are relevant and will gather useful information. Implementers will definitely need to have very clear objectives for what they're wanting to achieve once the feedback has been gathered and discussed. Professional development is another feature of 360 feedback, and it actually tends to work best when presented by management as developmental. When presented this way, people are more likely to view it in a positive light and as important to their personal and professional success. This slide outlines a few advantages and disadvantages of 360 feedback. A few advantages are that it aids in identifying skills gaps, stimulates career development, increases self-awareness, and also fosters a culture of openness. Identifying skills gaps and stimulating career development kind of go hand in hand. Skills gaps are revealed when feedback from coworkers begin to overlap. Those overlaps can help to isolate the areas a person is great and the areas where they can improve. Now that those skills gaps have been identified, people will have a starting place for their career development. Increased self-awareness is another strength of this method. With a variety of feedback from a variety of team members under their belt, an individual is likely to feel a higher level of self-awareness. The last strength I'll touch on is creating a culture of openness. So when organizational members become comfortable with giving and receiving feedback without fear of retaliation, they are much more likely to address the feedback honestly. Then over on the right side are a few downfalls of 360 feedback. There are natural biases, concerns around anonymity, potential hostility if not focused correctly, and also the potential to cause damage. Natural biases are unconscious opinions about a person or a group of people, and they can affect the validity of feedback that is provided. There are also concerns around anonymity. As I previously mentioned, if feedback is not anonymous, individuals would likely give feedback they think the recipient would want to hear and not their honest truth. Next, there's the issue of focus and what can happen if not done correctly. If there's a negative focus, employees may meet the feedback with hostility and defense. The last disadvantage that I would like to mention is the potential to cause damage, especially within working relationships. At times, some individuals can see feedback as an opportunity to express a grudge. So, if I were to apply this intervention, the 360 feedback, I would use it to implement biannual performance reviews. Biannual performance reviews are beneficial to all individuals within an organization. There are 3 types of reviews. There's a self-review, peer review, and manager review. A self-review is a great way to get in tune with what you believe about yourself before you learn about what your boss and your team think. Peer reviews, you will review 4 to 6 of your peers, and 4 to 6 of your peers will review you, anonymously, of course. For managers, you will review your manager, and they will review you. This provides a really good environment for you and your manager to share feedback on the last 6 months of work, as well as set some goals for the next 6 months. Over on the left, you can see that I have outlined 5 steps that I believe are essential in successfully creating a biannual 360 performance review. One is to identify purpose and strategy. So let your company's mission, vision, and values drive that purpose. Step 2 is to get organized and establish the who and the when. Step 3 is to build trust in order to get that desired culture of openness. Step 4 is to gain support from organizational members by communicating clearly and positively. Lastly is step 5, connecting feedback to development. So this step happens after the feedback has been given. So you should follow up with employees and ensure that they understand their results and are set up to reach their developmental goals.